What's up, it's your boy Reemus, and this video is one for the serious guys, the ones that want to know how champions think. What is the mindset of these guys that are going into the ring and performing at a high level? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna basically break down AJ's latest Sky Sports interview about the Ruiz fight, the Ruiz loss, so that basically we can learn from it, especially for fighters who want to get to that level and start forging a champion's mindset from now. So we're gonna look at the interview, we're gonna break down what's the merits and maybe the opposite kind of sides to things, things maybe you don't want to do and stuff like that. So let's get into it.
You regret letting Ruiz have a picture with your belts?
Yeah, so on hindsight, I'll probably tell my fighter, which is a psychological thing. Even if it means different to the fight, I'll tell him, don't give him away.
And I think this one is one of the key, crucial points to consider when looking back at this fight, right? Because, let me ask you a simple question, which is why I also asked in the Champ Set podcast. Would AJ have given Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder his belts? I think we all know the answer is no. So what that means is he's looking at the opponent as not that much of a threat. I would say have the mindset where you look at the belt as your baby. Would you give your baby to your enemy and go, hey, just hold it before we do war? Just hold my baby before we do battle. You wouldn't do that. You have to look at it as something which, for him to even place, him placing his eye on the belt is almost a sin, right? And that helps facilitate the feeling within yourself where you're going to do everything to stop him. And then you also don't get him, right, okay with feeling okay being a champion, if that makes sense. So you don't even place a little thought or even let it be visible to his mind that he can be holding the belt, because that's going to instill the other guy with confidence too, or even give him more desire. Who knows? Maybe at that point Andy goes, that felt really good to have those belts.
Remember, fighting Ruiz was no win for me. Fighting Ruiz was a replacement. Fighting Ruiz was the ticket to potentially fighting Wilder.
Here we go on to the next point where AJ basically says that fighting Ruiz, there was no win for him because basically Ruiz is the guy that is just being brought in and no one kind of thinks he's going to win. So if you beat him, you don't get credit, which is very true. But that's from an outside perspective. So I would say, if I was advising you, I would say this is not the type of mindset you should kind of have. You need to start to forge a feeling within yourself where you actually take every single fight as serious as the last, and you almost, even if you have to, trick your mind into believing everyone is someone who could potentially take that belt from you. So the trick here is to be process orientated as opposed to results orientated, which, a lot of the time the results that we value is included with, other people's approval, and that kind of is natural. But at the same time, if you shift your focus to actually just find it's so fulfilling to fight in itself, even if it was a smaller guy, because you love the feeling, that's a much better mindset to have, simply because you will be motivated for every single fight that you have.
To get me out of there. Because let me concuss Ruiz, he ain't getting back up. Ruiz got hit with a flash knockdown. He was still raw. He wasn't well done. He wasn't cooked yet. I should have left him in there a little bit longer.
And one thing that's good about what he's saying is you can still see that rejection of loss. Even though the losses happened or whatever, he's like almost disgusted by Ruiz's performance in some ways, because it helps. That's going to help pump him up to say, if that was me, if I get that chance, I'm going to put you out of there. So he's still at least telling his brain that there's stuff that he's better at Ruiz then, and those are the stuff that he personally values. Because you could also make the argument that whether you take a guy out in 1 round or you take a guy out in 12, it really doesn't matter as long as you get the win. What is more important is to get the win, but that changes, like how you get the win is going to change based on what your personality and character is. So he values knocking the guy out straight away, but for Ruiz, it may not be the case. Like, you don't have to knock a guy out straight away. Why? Like, if you beat him in 7 rounds, it doesn't matter. you still beat the guy. At the end of the day, Ruiz is the one holding the belts now. So I would say it really doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you win.
You know what I mean? Just like dancing around the ring. You know, that was never part of the game plan. My arms low, I'm over my front foot.
But that
Here he's basically saying, you know, I don't know why I wasn't fighting on the back, why I was fighting on the back foot. But, you know, would he do that if it was another opponent? Because then he's basically saying straight after, he said straight after, you know, again, big fighters turn down big paydays. Find the passion in basically performing like a god every time. And I think that's one of the reasons why a guy like Floyd Mayweather stayed undefeated, because he said this: no matter who I fight, I train hard every time. So I think someone asked him a question like, are you training harder for this fight? You know, that question gets asked all the time. And he basically said, you know, I train my hardest every single fight. That's it. The event should never be the person you're fighting. The event has to be you fighting. It's an event when you fight regardless. So that's what motivates you. But then what's kind of scary about saying you don't know why you wasn't fighting properly? Maybe it does. But what would be scary if that was true is that the same thing could basically happen again, because he doesn't know. How can you stop something that you're not aware of? Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that snippet. The full video is 25 minutes and it's on Patreon, so if you want to continue watching, go over there. I'm going to be dropping some fire videos on Patreon quite often, so if you're a fighter, you need to go over there, because I am going to be dropping some coaching videos that are both on the mental and physical aspects of boxing, but a lot of videos that I can't put up on YouTube, or you know, maybe I want to make a bit more exclusive. I'm going to go and put it on Patreon, so even if you're a fight fan, you could find it valuable. So if you want to be a part of the Patreon community, go at least just read up on it and consider signing up. Peace.